Well, this watch is getting a lot of attention. I don't get it. The design doesn't work. The skeletonized dial is horrendous. And the pricing is just fucking bonkers. Welcome to Bark and Jack, I'm Adrian, and this channel is just about me exploring watches and drinking coffee, chatting with you guys, and this is the third episode of my Q&A sessions. Or is it the fourth? It's either the third or fourth. Every Tuesday morning before 9 AM, I post a little story on Instagram and you guys ask questions, and this is where we talk about them. Before we get into it, I'm just going to plug my shop. barkandjack.shop have native straps and leather straps now as well, and they are shell Cordovan leather straps. Epically supple, really soft. They hug your wrist like anything. I'm so chuffed with these guys. So go check them out at barkandjack.shop. So let's get into the questions. First off the bat is MRB_watches. Have you tried haggis yet? I have tried haggis. It is horrendous. Never ever try haggis. _JDA94. What are your thoughts on these new luxury watch raffles that cropped up? I've seen a couple of bouts that never ever do anything like a luxury watch raffle. It's people monetizing hope and monetizing people's want for that. It's that kind of whole get rich quick scheme. There's nothing around. There's nothing real about getting rich quick. There's nothing real about getting these products. It's people who are able to actually afford them monetizing those who can't. And therefore they play this game, and it's a horrendous game. Never ever do stuff like that. You're far better off taking whatever it costs. I don't know, if it's 20 quid a ticket, go find something else that's enjoyable to spend your money on. You are simply funding someone else's greed and their immoral business idea of monetizing people's inability to buy something. It's a fucked up system. Fennel_TP, if offered, would you take up a job at Houdinki? No, I wouldn't. I'm living my dream. I've always wanted to own a business. When I left uni, I had a music production business, and I lived off that for about 2 or 3 years. I loved it. I like the idea of there being a problem or there being something that requires a solution and being able to create a solution and doing it. What I'm doing right now is a dream. I just hope it continues. So no, I wouldn't go work for someone else. So I would certainly, if given the opportunity, work with Houdinki, but I wouldn't be employed by Houdinki. Andy.evo, hi Adrian, loving your work, thanks man. What would you say about the ultimate off watch for under £10,000? The one that springs to mind, which you could get a really decent version of, is a two-tone sub bluesy. Now, although it's two-tone and not all gold, the fact it has that punchy blue dial, it's really drawing attention. It's really shouting, look at me. And then you look at the watch and you realize that there's gold in it, you realize it's a Rolex, you realize it's Submariner. It is a proper Q watch. So I think that's one of the ones that you can own. If you wanted something dressier, then you could go get yourself a vintage day date, an all gold day date, and that would be pretty hardcore. So this question got asked probably a good handful of times, probably 5 or 6 times, and it's the opinions on the new BR05 from Bell & Ross. I wasn't going to make a video about this thing because I think it is hideous. It looks like they're trying to keep their Bell & Ross instrument panel design signature going on with that dial, and I guess they've done it with the dial. And then it looks like they're trying to do a bit of an AP, a bit of a Hublot thing with the bolts on the outside, and then you get into the bracelet and it's a complete rip-off of the Nautilus bracelet. I think this thing is absolutely foul. There's too much metal around the outside. If the ID guy hasn't done a video on this thing, you need to do a video on this, because it's just, actually no, maybe don't waste your time on it. It's f***ing horrible. Scottish Watches did a podcast talking about this. Yeah, it's got a sleeve of movement inside, so the SW300 and the price. Yeah, they've got an all gold one. The skeletonized one looks hideous. I'm really not a fan of skeletonized dial. There are very few people who can do it right. Zenith have done it right. I do think that Oris was done really quite well. But lots of people mess up the skeletonized dial, and this one looks absolutely foul. The all gold is ridiculous. Who would buy an all gold watch with an off-the-shelf Solita movement? It's not even an ETA movement, it's a Solita movement. This is absolute insanity. $32,500 for the rose gold watch. $32,000 for an off-the-shelf movement is, so that's insane enough. But the fact that
getting it on steal, $4,900 for, people were moaning about that Oris watch being $7,600. This thing is $5,000. Okay, so let's do a closer like for like. This thing with an off-the-shelf movement is $6,400. The skeletonized dial, that Oris with the in-house movement with the 10-day power reserve, 12-day actual power reserve, is just $1,000 more. This has a shitty in-house movement. Not shitty, that's not fair, but it has an off-the-shelf movement. This thing is, it has to be a failure. This thing doesn't deserve to make it as a design, as a launch, as a product. It is... shit like this pisses me off. And this is what I don't understand when people get upset about the price of Oris. I think the price of that Oris was a fair price, especially when you compare it to crap like this. The watch, fine, if you like Bell & Ross, then that's absolutely fine. But I do think this is a complete rip-off. It's just an off-the-shelf movement. If a Kickstarter company were making this and selling it for $1,000, people would say that was a rip-off. This at $5,000 for the steel case and the steel bracelet, it makes zero sense. Michael Magnuson has asked, how come the 14060M is pretty much the cheapest sub available? It's just because it was mass produced. There are huge amounts of them out there. It's very, very easy to find. And so there's lots out there. That makes it cheap. Cheap, it's not cheap, but that makes it the more easily accessible of the Submariners. Anton_Brunishi. Sorry, buddy. Alternatives to the Submariner, in your opinion, 50 Fathoms, Seamaster, etc. I actually want to get hands-on with an Omega Seamaster. I've pretty much ignored it the whole time I've been into watches, just because it's always been there. It's too much of an easy option. So I'm actually going to go spend some time with an Omega Seamaster, one of the latest ones. I genuinely think the best alternative to a Submariner is the Black Bay 58. I think it's the best looking watch out of all of them. I think Black Bay 58 is a killer watch. Guilio_Magnelli. Is it too early to make any Baselworld predictions? Probably, but let's start. Rolex is going to launch a new Submariner with a slimmer case, with a new movement, and it's going to be absolutely awesome. And then Oris is going to launch a diver watch with an in-house movement. So Draggers has asked, have you had any hands-on with Laurent Ferrier or H. Moser? Also, love the SBGN 001. Thanks, buddy. It's a very, very cool watch. And I'm going to do a new video around it, which was actually suggested by one of you guys, like a 3-month review. So my thoughts on it. And my recent travels with it has completely changed my relationship with that watch for the better. I haven't got hands-on with the Laurent Ferrier, apart from just seeing them seeing one actually at a Red Bar. H. Moser, I actually spent some time with H. Moser at Baselworld. It was my first appointment, and the content that I captured was absolutely shocking because the lighting was just horrendous. So I didn't make a video of that interaction. I actually spent some time with the CEO, Edouard. Really cool chat. One of the watches that I love to show you a photograph, I'll show you it now, was the Venta Black dial, one of their watches with the Venta Black paint, which is the darkest paint that there is. It just destroys light, and it was really quite eerie looking into this dial, because there's no reflection, there's nothing there. The only reflection you get is your reflection on the sapphire glass itself. The light just hits this dial and just disappears. So it's really quite an eerie thing to look at. Very, very interesting brand. They're having fun, and hats off to them for doing that. Lane's Jewelry. Hey Mike, go check out Lane's Jewelry on Instagram. That's where I got my 5513. How long did it take you to feel comfortable speaking into a camera? Many retakes, lots and lots of retakes. But no, getting comfortable, it really didn't take very long at all. Part of my job, part of my career before I did this was public speaking. So I used to do lots of presentations, lots of public speaking, and it's pretty much the same. I'd also have to do public speaking presentations through a camera, through a web camera, and present to groups wherever in the world. So it actually feels quite natural. Walking around, you feel like an absolute pillock when you do this outside. Guys, thanks so much for asking your questions. It's always fun exploring things. I wasn't going to talk about that Bell & Ross, but then so many people asked, so we spoke about it, and it's kind of cool going down that route. Do go check out the Scottish Watches podcast, the most recent one, because they did, the most recent one, because they did have a big old chat around that. Anyway, if you want to get involved with this sort of stuff, do check me out on Instagram at barkandjack, and just check out every Tuesday morning. I put a little post up, a little story, so hit a little logo icon, and then that'll bring up the story and you can ask your questions. Go check out my website, barkandjack.com, for articles and reviews and things on there. Go check out our shop, barkandjack.shop, which there's NATO straps, there's now leather straps, so go check those out. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Take care.